My name's Nicola Baldwin and I'm a playwright, and I've written 5 plays for Touring over quite a few years. They are The Gift, Cracked, Wicked Problems, Leap of Faith and Bloods. I've enjoyed all the plays I've done for Touring, but I think the one that I enjoyed most was Leap of Faith. It was a play that wasn't written for Touring to take with a small company of actors into a school. It was written for participation of Art of Regeneration at the Albany. 25 or 26 in the cast. I worked with Lisa Sperling's director, and we decided that everybody would have a named part. Very big mixed ability group. The subject was genetics and risk, so it was interesting for me because I didn't know that much about the genetic basis of risk. And also we took as the story free running, so there was a lot of possibility for exciting health and safety issues along the way, which you haven't foreseen, but it was great fun to do. Lovely. Of all the plays I've done for Touring, they've all had their own challenges, and mostly those challenges worked out to make the play better than it would have been if they hadn't been there. Wicked Problems was the one that I was least happy with. It's not that good actually, and that's partly because I tried to be quite experimental in the form, and I think that it just doesn't work as well for the sort of plays that work well for Touring. So that would be my least proud of one. Well, I knew you were going to ask me if I liked writing about science, and I was trying to think about that. And I actually think that in the end you're still writing about people. Although you are learning about science and you are researching and being introduced to all these wonderful scientists, ultimately your job as a playwright is to write a story about people. And I think that through working with science-based subjects, I was able to write about people going through the most extraordinary circumstances and met people who had experience of certain things that I wouldn't have been able to work with otherwise. So it was a chance to write incredible stories about people. Touring is different to work with as a playwright from other companies in, I think, 3 respects. I mean, the great thing about working for Touring is that when you come on board as a playwright, there is already a deadline when the play is going to be on. So it's not a deadline when you deliver and somebody makes a decision. It's a deadline when that play is going to go on tour, and that concentrates the mind wonderfully. The other big difference is that you get to go and see it with audiences of kids, which is terrifying but also very interesting. And the third thing is that your play is marked by a committee, and that is the bit that's really frightening in the early stages. The process of writing each play is different depending on the subject matter and depending on the people involved. Working with Touring, there's always the workshop day at the beginning to kick things off, where you find out about the subject, but you also get little trails to follow about how to find out more, and you get people that you can talk to follow up ideas. And then you write an outline, and then you get feedback on that, and then you write a draft and you get feedback on that, and ultimately do 2 or 3 drafts, and then it goes into rehearsal. I think Touring is an important company for writers because you work in a way that is not the way you'd work, say, in a theatre, where you have a commission and you go away and you get something out of your own head or your own research. You're challenged to exist in the world a lot more with Touring. I think that you have to weigh up every word a lot more as well when you're working in this way. Because you're working with experts, the accuracy and the accuracy of the science and the argument is more important, but also because you're working with quite a demanding audience, so every word needs to matter. Get me some more of those DNA strands from the fridge. And that sentence is from a play written by girls at Northfleet School. And obviously it's not a particularly good description of how you deal with DNA, and you certainly don't keep it in strands in the fridge, but it sums up the idea of kids' minds being opened to the possibility of creating drama about things they didn't know about the previous week. And so that sentence sums up Why Touring for me.